Hi everybody, Sanibonani, welcome to my channel. welcome, igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe mangabe ukuqala usijoyina namhlanje. Trust me, kumnandi lana. So press ibutton leli lithi subscribe la ngezansi upress i-notification bell eseduze kuka-subscribe ukuze uthole ama-notification ukuthi ufakile umsebenzi omusha. Kodwa-ke uma uyilaba abakholwa ngokubona, stay until the end of the video bese uyasubscribe ngoba vele uzosubscribe. Namhlanje I'm doing something different. Ngenza i-story time. I-story time ke sakule channel guys. Sifila weird because vele le channel is about telling stories, but with the channel that tells the real stories. But namhlanje I just thought what I will do just a story time which is something that happened to me that had lessons for me, and I think that it could have lessons for some of the people abangibukelayo abangilalelayo la ku YouTube. So I thought I will share the story, so watch until the end of the video so you can possibly get the lessons that I got from my experience today. This video mhlawumbe ngiyenze a lot of sense, or it will make more sense if ungahambe uyobuka i-video yami that I did. Actually it's 3 videos that I did talking about how I became a special needs mom. Kulaba kabasha on this channel abangazi, I am a mother of a child with special needs. I have a CP warrior. If you want to know more about it, you can watch my videos. I'm going to link with description, put nama cards la phezulu so that you can click on the muhambi wabuka. If you watch those videos, it's a bit of a chance to get to know me and get to know my story, but it's only part of my life. But also if you are a mom and you have a child that has certain medical conditions or a condition, then me sharing my experience maybe might help you somewhere, so you can go watch those videos. So today it was a day where sine appointment esibhedlela. My child uses a lot of we use public hospitals for the reasons that we when ngenkathi egula eqala ukugula besingenayo medical aid at the time, so vele we used a public service, and I realized was actually there's so much resources in public hospitals, even more than private hospitals. It's just that service or it's whole from his staff iyona put her off. So I decided that even after I had the medical aid, I was gonna put up with the answers of the nurses, so just I can get ilokuzana ama resources at public hospital, because it's quite good. One example that I can give you, Mtanam uses ilokuzana, takes medication on a daily basis. One of the medications I tatayo is a medication that if I get it privately, it's amapilisi 60, which lasts for 1 month at 340 rand. But lawo maphilisi lawo uyawathola at a public hospital for free. so you might as well go uyohlala lapha kwi-queue and see a very qualified doctor, and then you get your medication for free. And I say that without 340, but that's not the only medications it takes. It's quite a number, like 3 or 4 different medications. So every month, if I buy them privately, I have to have 1,000 rands. By the time June, my savings or my medical aid is done. So I keep the appointments in the public hospital for those reasons, because I want to be able to access those resources are free. I do work, I am a taxpayer, so I do have a right to go to the public hospital. So today, because after COVID, during COVID, she had one appointment in August that just before it happened in 2020, we were called by the hospital. Sajel was, no, don't bring the kids. Really, I was scared. I mean, she didn't go to any of her appointments. So, but for me, I was, no, hold on to ingane zenu ningazi lana. And then we will call you masekufanele nize esibhedlela. And I was relieved because vele bengingafuni ukuya esibhedlela. But I made other plans as far as medication is concerned, because not only was I scared ukuthi ngimise yena, but I was scared also to go near a hospital when the COVID was at its highest. So I made arrangements with a friend of a friend. I won't say her name because I don't know if it's legal. What we did, but we asked the doctor, explain her condition, everything, give her background information, and I asked her to give us a prescription for medication that she takes, and she gave us a prescription, and we went privately. So I've been paying for her medication during the COVID because I just didn't want to have to go to the doctor. And in the public hospital, it's not like bazokubhalela prescription for the whole year. They write a prescription, and after a few months you have to come for an appointment. Udokotela abone ukuthi umntana still needs medication, and I didn't want to do that. So the whole time since last year, akazaza my appointments akhe akuba public hospital for that reason. But I was still taking her to physiotherapy privately and all that. If she's sick, we can still take her to the private doctor. But for Lawa a routine, I haven't been going. So, but a few days ago, we had a certain issue with when she wasn't well. But this video is not about that really. But we had to go to the hospital and also just to renew in the appointments and all of that. So, but ibhedlela ngizihambile kakhulu. I mean, there is no hospital in Durban that you can tell me about engasazi. You know, namhlanje ngifikile nje lapha, is it POPD eKing Edward? I was like, ooh, usekhona lo odelelayo lo. Ngiyabazi. Okay, abanye they're very sweet shame. Yeah, it's not everybody, but khona wazi ukuthi manginalo wena kuyashuba. But I use a public hospital, King Edward Hospital, ne-Albert Hospital a lot, and the doctors are quite good. So today besihambile siya esibhedlela for that, get to renew my appointment. But the issue that we were having with her, so ibonela udoctor and stuff, and yeah. So, but one thing that always happens to me, guys, when I go to hospital appointments without fail, like every time I go to the hospital, is that there's always somebody ozoza kumina naye umuntu ezesibhedlela and sit next to me and tell me zonke iy'nkinga zakho umuntu. And I noticed that Jane, a few years after we started attending to her issues as because every time I'm in the hospital, there's always going to be somebody who's going to come. I don't know if this happens to everybody, guys, but I just had learned to accept it. There's always going to be somebody that comes and talks to me about their problems. And a lot of the time, I must say, my appointments, because very my appointments where for an example, the Albert Hospital Mawia corner niyobona ama-neurologists which vele iy'ngane zinama-conditions are similar to each other ngalolo suku vele, you know, maybe a lot of the kids will have CP vele, you know, so ama-challenges ama-parents ayafana. And so even King Edward, a lot of the times uthola abantu vele abeze with the same issue sometimes. So I would always look at it like mhlambe abantu, because when I go to the hospital I make sure my child is clean, even though she's in a wheelchair yakhe clean, I dress her cute and whatever. And I'm always on my jeans. I could look like a hobo, I don't care, but I always make sure that she's cute and clean. So a lot of the times I would think maybe presentation it looks like to other mothers who are dealing with the same thing that I'm dealing with. When they look at me, they feel like I have things figured out, or my solutions are the thing I have. So I'm always willing to listen to those mothers. And sometimes they come and they talk to you about wheelchairs. They're curious about where you got a wheelchair umntana, because they've been waiting for years. You know, when you use the public hospital, guys, umntana the first time she needed a wheelchair was 2 years old. Sapalisa for a wheelchair. That wheelchair hasn't come, and my child is 11, guys. I'm laughing, but it's not a funny matter. Imagine if really I didn't have. So those are the types of things that, you know, when I think about it, and I'm like, she's 11, and we still haven't received a call from the hospital to say the wheelchair is ready, you know. So those are the type of things they deal with. So sometimes they'll be asking about a wheelchair, and then a person will start talking about their issues, how their partners leave them when they find out that their children are, you know, have a disability or have a challenge and all of that. Always when I go to the hospital, it's always that issue, and a person will tell me about their abusive relationship, and will tell me about the condition of their children and how it affects them, of their child. And I've always taken it as maybe it's just a way for God to show me, okay, yeah, you are in this situation, it's really bad, but look at this one. Because that's how I always feel. I remember one time this mother came to me and talked to me about her child, She also has a same condition as my child, but it affects children differently. So her child has this thing of hitting whatever. If she's near a table, she's gonna hit a table like that. So she says that when she puts her in a cot bed, she hits a cot bed, and actually she doesn't sleep at all. She doesn't fall asleep. They've put her on different medications, tried everything. They've gone to all sort of specialists to help her to just her child never sleeps, and she wants to hit something. So when they are sleeping at night, she's hitting the cot bed like this the whole time. And I remember how I just wanted to cry listening to that mother. And she was one of the people that just came and was talking to me, and just out of the blue, when there were 100 other mothers there in the hospital. So today the same thing happened. Okay, I was sitting there. Obviously, since they're still doing a social distancing, you wait outside until you are needed inside. Maybe there's like 5 people inside the clinic. A POPD, is it POPD? Yeah. So and then ngangena when mangena. Yeah, they wouldn't allow her father to come in with me, even though they can see that she's on a wheelchair. She's 11 years old. Obviously, she's heavy. I need someone to help me lift her. But today I wasn't in the mood, because sometimes we try and convince her and they will let him in. Sometimes I'm like, today I was like, hey, I'm not even in the mood. I'm just going to lift her myself. So they didn't allow him to go in. But that's a story time for another time. The things that you deal with. But okay, so I go, and then esibhedlela then bafuna ukumkala umntwana, and then I have to lift her to get on the scale with her, because yena akakwazi ukungena escaleni ke umntanami on her own. And then I lift her, and then I have to ukuthi basikale so-two, and then bakale mina alone and all that. But before ngisukume ngiyokala, this Indian guy comes and sits next to me when he is trying to start to talk, and then they call me, and then I go. Part of me was relieved, because I was like, yo, nakho ke sebezongitshela ngenkinga. When I feel like I nami nginezami inkinga, sometimes you feel like that, hey, I have so many problems. I can't bear to listen to another person's problems right now. So part of me was relieved because they called me. So called me, I'm calm down, and then go sit in another area, and I go and I sit in another area. And then obviously he's after me, so he's gonna come. So he comes and sits, and they separate the seats. But he's sitting with the boy. Maybe that boy is like what? Maybe 10, 11, maybe the same age as my daughter, 10, 11. And I figure yeah, maybe we're separated by seats because it's social distancing. And I know I can see there's a problem with the child's shoes. And then he shows me, it's like, Lapo, my wife is not even around for me to bitch at her, because she's the one who tied her shoes like that. So, and he says, but I can't bitch at her because she passed away. So I just gave her a smile, and I didn't answer. And okay, so and then he tries to put icathulo back to ingane yakhe leyo mfana. You can see ukuthi ingane yakhe I wouldn't say condition yakhe, I wouldn't be able to determine condition and now, but I saw it's okay, there is some type of an issue with the child in the way beyenza ngayo, but he's friendly, he's playing, but unako lokho ukuthi he's not sitting still ukuthi agqokiswe icathulo kanti usekhulile. It's like a 10-year-old. If you say sit down, I need to put your shoes back on, or you can even say put your shoes back on the wood, but he's not doing that. So I realized it's okay, there must be anyway, especially everyone is coming with an issue. So I was like, okay, that must be something, there must be something going on there. So and then he's trying, and then he's putting the shoes back on this child, and you can see because this man has never put shoes on a child before, because the way that he was doing, I was like, this shoe is never gonna go on that foot. So, but I'm looking at it, and then part of me wants to help, but I'm like, then uzange inkinga zakho la nawe ziningi nazi inkinga zakho concentrate kuzona. So angazi bayigqokisa njani leza xesha, but I looked the other way. I just smiled at him when he was talking about the shoes, and then I looked the other way to wait. But guys, they will make you wait until you talk to people that you had no intention really of talking to. So ngize ngigcine phathulo ke khuluma, and then I will answer that, and then I decided it's okay, because he keeps mentioning that his wife passed away, And then I'm like, this man just sounds like he just wants to tell somebody the story of how his wife passed away. That's the message that I just got. And I felt like, let me just answer him in such a way that he gets a chance to talk about whatever it is that he wants to talk about. So I just ended up asking, or he told me, I'm bringing him for his appointment. It was like, I didn't even know, I don't understand anything about his condition because my wife took care of everything when she was around. And it's like, I remember that they used to come to the hospital with the kids. And I looked through her bags and I found these hospital cards, and I realized that the dates is I'm supposed to bring them today. And then I brought him because his brother is 13, the older brother is 13. He was writing his exams, so he couldn't come, but they have the same condition. And I think he said it's ADHD. And so I asked, oh, okay, so are they on medication? It's like, yeah, they're on medication, but it makes them very drowsy. Medication account. So I only give them when we go into public places, but at home I don't, because I just feel like they become inactive. They sleep all the time, and I don't like seeing them like that. So I'm like, oh, this is a hard situation, especially. So I ended up asking what happened to their mother. And he says, no, their mother just passed. And I'm like, when was that? And he says, in August. And I'm thinking, the way he was talking about it, it was almost like it happened today. Like it sounded very raw for him, and it was very sad. And I'm like, so I just allowed him to tell us. So then he says, no, his wife died in August, and she had tested positive for COVID. And I'm like, oh, that's very sad to hear. So what happened? And she was like, no, she had she had other medical conditions. She had a condition with her spine. I don't know, something about her spine freezing. So she was on medication for that. And she had gone to the hospital. And when she came back, she started coughing, and she wouldn't stop coughing. And after a day or two, he was like, you know what, you need to go and do a COVID test because you were at the hospital. Maybe you came back with COVID-19. So she went and she tested, and became and then the results came back positive. She said the day that she found out she was positive, she called him very distraught and told him she was positive, and he was like, no, but that's fine. I mean, a lot of people have been positive and they have recovered. You're going to recover too. But he says that when he got home, his wife really just wouldn't get out of bed. And he was surprised because when he left, the only thing that was wrong was that she was coughing. Now she doesn't want to get out of bed. And now he's feeling like he didn't understand what was going on, but he felt like it wasn't that physically she couldn't. She felt like mentally she took it uyithathele engqondweni kakhulu indaba yokuthi une-COVID, she couldn't deal with it. So more than the fact that physically she was sick, she was also mentally, she wasn't coping. She wouldn't get out of bed. She wouldn't come to the lounge and watch TV with them and the kids for the days following that. And whatever medication she will come back with, like the steaming that you do for COVID and all of that, the things that people have used and have recovered from COVID, she didn't want to do those things at all, and she didn't want to talk, and she couldn't understand. And he says he would beg and beg and beg, just stand up and walk around the house or something, because now they were all quarantining in the house because he thought if she has COVID, then he must have COVID. So I asked him, so had you guys vaccinated? Because he said it's in August, and I'm thinking in August we were already vaccinating. And that guy looks like he's like, because ushawe impilo. When you're going through something, you look older at the time when you're going through that. So I asked him, like, had you vaccinated? So he looks like he could be in his 50s. But when I looked at his kids, because he says his oldest kid is 13, my oldest kid is like 17, and I'm 42. So I thought this guy could actually be my age or younger. you know. It's just that he looks really frail and stuff. So I was like, so did you guys vaccinate? He was like, no, actually I vaccinated, but she refused to go and vaccinate. Before she got sick, she refused to go and vaccinate. I begged her and she didn't want to, and I vaccinated. So and then she got sick after that. And I was just thinking about that. It's, oh wow, even because she says she also, over and above having a spinal condition that she also had diabetes that she had, that you know. So but he really, really just wanted to tell the whole story because, okay, I thought the conversation is going to end there, but he told me the details of how each day went. He would say at 12 o'clock the doctor called me and he said I must do this, and then I went and I saw whoever, and then they said I must do this, and then I came home and I do this, and then he had specific times until on the day when his wife just wouldn't even get out of bed to go to the bathroom, and she said that her legs were painful, and then he lifted her out to take her to the bathroom, and they never got to the bathroom, and then brought her back to bed, and she passed. Like he wanted to give me this is somebody I don't know, guys, that I've never met. I would probably never meet this guy again, and he really wanted to tell me that. And he told, so I asked him, so what happened after that? And he said no. And then, we made funeral arrangements, and she was buried and stuff. And now I'm really struggling with the kids because one, they have this condition that they have, so sometimes you don't know how much of what's going on with them. It's because their mother passed, or how much of it has to do with just the fact that they do have ADHD. I think that's what it is. And he says that the senior was really struggling because at the time when his wife got sick, they really they were had conflicts with with his mother, because he's a teenager, and there's things that he said to his mother that were not so kind, and so he's struggling with the fact that he said those things just before his mother died. And I asked him, have you done counseling? And he says he did go to counseling because his doctor, after his wife died, he got really, really sick. So a point where he thought he had COVID, and he took a test and it was negative, and he continued getting sick. And then he took another test and it came back positive, negative again. And the doctor just said to him, no, you are going through something emotionally and mentally. You need to go seek counseling. And he says he's been going through counseling. And I asked about the kids. So what about the kids? He said, no, I just try and talk to them when I see that they're struggling. But as the time goes, if I feel like they need to go for counseling, then I will send them to counseling. And then he says to me, this past Sunday I woke up, and because every Sunday I wake up late anyway. I'll wake up late, and then I'll be irritated that my wife is shouting at the kids and waking them up on the Sunday, not understanding why he's waking the kids up on the Sunday early. And then I will go and make breakfast for the family. Usually I'll be the one that makes the breakfast. And he's like, this Sunday I woke up and realized that noise that usually, irritates me and all of that is not there, because she's not there. And he says he woke up and he sat on the couch, and his son, the one that was there in the hospital, was playing around and what. And he says, and then I just went to the bedroom and I locked the door and I just broke down, because I realized that I miss her so much. Nothing is normal without her. And after he told me that story, and then he asked me my name, and then I told him, and then he said, where do you live? And then I told him, and then he told me his name, and then, okay, I won't say his name because anyway, it's not important. And he told me where he stays and stuff. And then I was called, and then I went because I was in front of him, and then I went. And then when I came out, I didn't see him because I wanted to say goodbye to him. Not that I would ever see him again, but I just thought I wanted to say goodbye. But I didn't see him. Went for the bloods, and then came back, went for the medication, and I didn't see him again. But here are the lessons from the story. One of the lessons that I know, which for me it takes time every time, because I'm somebody that if I'm out in public, I'm focused on myself, especially if I'm out with my daughter. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody, because a lot of the time people are asking you questions that you're like, you are a stranger. I can't be explaining my daughter's condition to every stranger that asks me, you know. So I'm always just, focused. Sometimes, it's good to just take the time, because that man really looked like he just wanted to talk to, I think he wanted to talk to a stranger about everything that had happened to him. And there were moments where I felt like he's almost in tears, and I was praying that he doesn't cry, because I wouldn't have known what to do. So, like, I think the lesson is that take the time sometimes to just listen to people. A lot of people out there just need somebody to listen to them, and I know a time when I needed that too, where you feel like you don't necessarily want to speak to the family members, but you also want to speak, and you don't really want to both go to a formal counseling session. So if you feel that somebody wants to talk to you, even if they don't know you, sometimes you really just there for a reason, and just offer them an ear, and listen to them. But also another lesson, also, it was about vaccination, guys. It really was about vaccination, because if you think about it, this man says that he lived with his wife. They slept on the same bed. When she was already diagnosed with COVID-19, they slept on the same bed. She got sick. She was like she says, all the symptoms that are counted she had at some point, and he just didn't. He says that at that time he didn't. He only got sick afterwards, and the doctors are convinced that it's because he went through that trauma, because his wife basically died in his arms, because they never took her to the hospital. So the lesson is in vaccination. I do not think that because this guy vaccinated, that is the reason that he has been saved from all of the trauma of being affected by COVID-19. I don't know. I felt like that. I felt like he really was saved by the fact that he got vaccinated, and I feel like even his wife probably would have been saved if she had vaccinated before she went to the hospital, because maybe she would have caught it. Maybe it would have been manageable. That's another lesson. But another lesson as well is that sometimes when you go through something, how you take it mentally and emotionally can affect you so much. And he even said to me, you know what, I don't think, yes, my wife had COVID, but my wife was not killed by COVID. My wife was killed by her mental state. She just couldn't take it. I think she was thinking so much about the fact that she was going to die that she ended up dying. That sometimes it's so important to have hope when you go through something, to have hope, to wake up and do normal things, wake up and make breakfast for your kids, go and sit outside or something, go and watch TV. Don't allow whatever you're going through to just put you in bed and not wake up. Because sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're like, you know what? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to put my foot down. But it's important to still do it, because sometimes, not doing it can kill you. And I don't know why this man decided to share this story with me, but I got my lessons from it, and I thought that I will pass on the lessons maybe to some of my viewers that will watch this video until the end, because you guys are walking out of my videos mid. Phela ama-analytics ayangitshela ukuthi nibuye niphume kuma-videos ami seseniphumelane idatha iyaphela, load shedding. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that there is a lesson that you learned from it. If not, you just listen to me blabbling about my hospital appointment, and you're probably gonna hear a lot of these stories because the appointments are back. So we'll be going there all the time, and every time I go to the hospital there is a story. So here is my one hospital story. Thank you so much for watching my video, guys. I'm going to do a live about the fact that we are monetized on this channel. I think I'm suffering from an imposter syndrome, because I'm like, really? It is me? Did we really get monetized? So I will do a live and celebrate. Thank you so much for all of my viewers. Ngithanda kakhulu. kakhulu.